Today we're making one of my personal favorites because I love pizza a ridiculous amount. It's just so bad for you most of the time. This is a pizza wrap that I've been making for the last couple months, and it's a bit of a treat. It's not the healthiest thing in the world, but it's certainly healthier than an actual pizza. So today I'm going to show you how to make that step by step and all the ingredients that I use as well, just so it's a little bit easier for you to recreate at home if it's something you're interested in. But for the wrap portion itself, I use these Mission Carb Balance Zero Carb tortillas. These ones are the smaller ones. They're probably 6 inches, 5 inches in diameter. And then I have the burrito sized Mission tortillas. So I use both of those for my wraps. I use just pretty well whatever pizza sauce if you're choosing. I use this Classico Faglia for some extra protein and a little bit of creaminess in the wrap. I have my Italian blended cheese, some mushrooms. These are Baby Bella mushrooms, some turkey pepperoni, ground beef from Sam's Club, leaner ground beef, and then I also use Italian sausage, 2 packages, 2 pounds of Italian sausage. So that's the ingredients for the most part. There is a little bit of Italian seasoning and some Alpine touch as well. So pretty much just salt, garlic, pepper, just your normal seasoning. So get it to where you like it flavor-wise. So for today's meal prep batch, I'm going to do 4 pounds of the lean ground beef to 3 pounds of this Italian sausage. They're 1.5 pounds per container or per package. So first things first, we're gonna get that cooking in the pan, get that browned. I do just cook them together at the same time. That way I just feel they get blended in a little bit better. We'll let that cook. Alrighty, so now we have the 4 pounds of ground beef and the 3 pounds of hot Italian sausage all cooked up and in the bowl. And this will be the insides of our wraps, more or less. So now we'll just go into it with a couple jars of traditional pizza sauce. And usually the ratio of these is always a little bit different from wrap to wrap, because I usually use a little bit different amounts of meat. So if you're doing this at home, I'd honestly recommend just kind of start with less and always add more if you need it. So I'll just start with 1 jar of that for now, the pizza sauce, and then we'll do probably right around half a container of the Faglia for starters. And this is just 0% Faglia. And then we'll get that mixed up and go from there. Since this is a larger batch, I am just going to add in the second jar of pizza sauce just to get a little bit more of the tomato flavor in it. And then I'll use probably about this whole bag of cheese. Here's what our mixture is looking like. This is the beef, sausage, pizza sauce, Faglia, and cheese at this point. That mixed in, and then we're ready to start prepping to put the wraps together. All right, so now we have the wrapping portion. I like to use Carb Balance burrito tortillas for the main outside shell of it, and then I use these smaller, still Carb Balance tortillas for the top, which I'll show in a second. Makes it a little bit easier to fold. You don't have to have a food scale by any means. You can just eyeball it or use like a measuring cup to get relatively similar amounts in each one. But I like to just use a scale some of the time. And you take your meat and cheese mixture. And I usually like to do right around 9 ounces, sometimes 10, and depending on the person, I mean, a lot of people might like less than that. You can always do less in each and make quite a few more that way. So this is 10 ounces here. And then I'm gonna take some mushrooms that I have prepped up from earlier. I did dice them just so they're a little bit easier to work with. And I'm just going to put those on the top of my meat there. And then I'm gonna take a few turkey pepperonis and put those on top. And that's where it's at. Your pepperoni mushroom pizza wrap. So then we'll take this other carb balance tortilla like I mentioned, put it right on top like that. And then all we gotta do is get it folded up. And there you have it. I usually put a little bit of pressure on them when I first fold them. It seems to make the tortilla hold it a little bit better, and then you can kind of even out the filling as well. And then I just flip it over and I set it on the fold side, just on the countertop. And usually from it sitting like that for a little bit, it holds its shape really well. So I'm gonna do that probably 10 more times, and then we will cook them on the stove. Out of that, 7 pounds of meat total, and the other ingredients we added, we have 14 wraps. So now that we have them wrapped and resting, so they're kind of holding their shape a little bit better, I just use some more Italian cheese just to go with the pizza theme of it. And I'll show you up closer, but I'll sprinkle it onto the pan with a little bit of oil. And that's how I close the bottom of these so they hold tight. And that just makes it a little bit easier for reheating. And a lot of the times if you air fry them, you can usually just eat them with your hands. If you just microwave them, it's a little bit harder. I'll usually just eat it with a fork at that point. Here we go. Alrighty, so now we're just on the final steps of this, sealing it up. I have a little bit of avocado oil in each of these pans currently, just probably a tablespoon or so of each. And then I will take this Italian style 6 cheese blend and just sprinkle probably maybe 1/8 of a cup, not very much, just enough to get the bottom to seal. Both of my wraps from the countertop and just set them down. And you can sometimes just tuck in the sides a little bit more if you need to, but like with this one, it's sitting pretty solid already. So you can really just flip it onto it. I usually spin it on the cheese once I get it in the pan just to keep it from sticking. And I'll let it sit and cook for probably 3 or 4 minutes on each side. I usually check and always adjust the temperature, and sometimes they're a little crispier than others, but that's okay. The Italian style cheese tends to cook a little bit darker. I don't feel that it tastes burnt when it's like that. Just a little bit of color. Just on a side note, I'm trying to make kind of a little sauce for this right now. And what I have is Fage, probably 4 tablespoons of Fage with 1 tablespoon of pesto with a little bit of Alpine touch. I haven't tried it yet. Pretty reasonable. Not bad at all. So I'll be eating this with my pizza wrap. There we have it, our pizza wrap. There is our pizza wrap.